This is Ethan, and I'm here with Dave, and together we are Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast, episode 32-inch.
On this episode, we talk to a man who has known Al for close to 50 years and performed on the Placebo EP version of Happy Birthday, Frank from the Bank, Sanchez.
It's Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast.
It's a podcast about Weird Al.
It's Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast.
Seriously, the whole podcast is about Weird Al.
Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast.
You don't have to listen, but we're glad you are.
Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast.
I am so excited to welcome our next guest to the podcast. He's a lifelong supporter of Weird Al and his music. He's been playing bass for over 50 years. He even played bass on the Placebo EP version of Happy Birthday. Welcome, Frank from the Bank, Sanchez. Hey, Frank.
Hey, how you guys doing, man? Men? Whatever.
Thank you so much, Frank. This is so great to have you on.
You know, I'm honored. I'm honored that that you asked me to do this, and I just can't believe that it's happening. I'm going to have to pinch myself.
All right, we'll wait while you pinch yourself.
Oh, okay, I got it. I'm done. Thanks.
It's very rare that we talk to someone with as much history with Al as you've had. You have literally known him for 47 years. And you knew him right in those formative years when you and the guys were starting to listen to Dr. Demento and where he was really starting to pick up his musical taste and aptitude. I would just love to know, what was the first interaction you had with Al? How did you guys meet?
Wow. I don't really know. I can tell you that Al, I knew him as Alfred, and I still do call him Alfred before I think about calling him Al. And he was really good friends with my younger brother, Vince. Vince is, I think it's about Al's age. I think he might be a little bit, I don't remember. Vince was born in 1960, and I think that's the year Al was born. He was born in 59.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And Al would come over to the house, and I'd say, "Hey, how you doing?" And that would be it, pretty much. And that really was because Al was a weird dude. I mean, and Vince was too. We were all kind of crazy, but I was more the normal guy pursuing a rock and roll career, maybe, but Al would come over and Vince and him would go into the room and do their thing. And Vince would hang out with Al and go back to Al's house and like that. So I kind of knew Al just being around my brother, but right. I didn't know him. I didn't, know him really, really well until Al asked me to play for him. And I went, well, yeah. I mean, I was the older brother. I had the recording equipment, and Al knew that I played. I played in high school. I was a senior when he was a freshman, and our, seniors rule and all that kind of stuff. But, Dr. Demento, came to the school when Al was a freshman and did his show. And Al didn't actually meet Dr. Demento that time, but a lot of kids hung out after the show and just went, "Oh, look, it's Dr. Demento, ooh," and that was about it. I didn't, I just knew who he was. We hung out a little tiny bit with my brother. And they did, crazy songs, and that all happened. Then when Al got out of school, I knew him before he was weird, I guess, before he was officially Weird Al, because the next time I really, really talked to him was when he wanted to record some songs, and that was the infamous Hollywood off-ramp recordings. And, Al came over, and he had some songs he wanted to record, and Vince had some friends from Western High School, and he invited his friends to come help out. But Al had written out his charts. We did American Slob. That was on Dr. Demento. We did another one called Signal Hill Surfing. That was on that too. And then there's another one called Number One with a Bullet. And Number One with a Bullet is unreleased, I hope. It's one that Al said, "Don't you ever give that out." I said, "Okay, Al, no problem." So it's probably locked up in an accordion case somewhere in Bermuda's archives. I'm telling you right now. You know that scene at the end of Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom where they put the Ark of the Covenant in a big box, in a giant warehouse?
Right.
Yeah, that's where it is. It's over there someplace. I try to look myself up sometimes online. Go, oh look, there I am. There was an article or somebody had something on the website talking about that Hollywood off-ramp recording, and they were trying to trace the people in it, and so to set the record straight, on that one, Al's playing accordion and vocals. A guy named George Taylor was on drums. He's one of Vince's friends. A guy named Vince Graham piano. And this guy, Pete McPherson, they were saying, I can't find a Pete McPherson. Well, there really is no Pete McPherson. His name is Bill. We just call him Pete because he liked Pete Townsend. He liked to play like Pete Townsend. And that's what we call him, Pete.
Okay.
So that, so anybody that's listening for that, they'll know now McPherson never really exists. Al came over. He brought us the charts, and I was really impressed. I mean, he had everything laid out, with his architectural background. He had arrows here, and everything was written out in block form, and with intros and pushes for the upbeats, and it was really well done, for sure. And then we recorded it on a 4-track recorder, and one overdub for the vocal, and the garage was all carpeted. I mean, we thought we were great. We had the studio. We had red lights and everything in the studio, and Al was it was happening. It was really fun, and Al was playing accordion along with the band to guide us along through the song. So on the recording, it sounds like a ghost track, but it really just wasn't mic'd. But it was really a special time. That was, one of the Al interactions that I had recording for him. I got a couple of stories about that too, because, there was this one time where Al came in, and he had the Belvedere, and he scratched the Belvedere on the gate where my mom and dad had a driveway, and he goes, "Hey, it's no problem. I can fix that." So he reaches into his glove box, pulls out a magic marker, and he says, "Oh, this is my Belvedere repair kit." And he just colored it in, and it was done. It was just awesome. It was awesome.
I wonder how many times he repaired that.
I don't know. I'm telling you, but Al was a really unique and interesting guy, because I did ask my brother Vince, for some Al stories, and he said, well, Al really liked to put his feet behind his head. And he actually drove Vince home one time and did that in the car. I'm going, okay.
Oh, wow.
Man, no wonder he's scratching up the car.
That's probably how he did it. No kidding.
Wow, that's amazing. Did you ever get to ride in the Belvedere?
No, never rode in it. Nope. Seen it a few times. It was kind of like the Batmobile in my mind,
right.
But,
Yeah.
So I did that recording, and then Al graduated, and then he was going to really go for it. And he asked me to play for him again, and this is the happy birthday session. And this is, how I'm remembered in Aldom. And I tell people that I'm more or less the Pete Best of the Weird Al band, because everything started happening, and I didn't jump on the train. But so what happens is, I remember going up to Bermuda's. Well, I don't know if I went with Bermuda or if I went with Al, but we went up to a place in Hollywood to do this session. And it was during the day. I don't know. I'm sure I didn't drive, otherwise I would have remembered this. But we went up to Richard Bennett's house, and that's Bermuda's brother. And we went up there, and the lady answered the door, and we go, "Where's Richard?" And he goes, "Oh, well, he's at Neil's house." "Oh, Neil. Oh, Neil Diamond. Oh, that Neil." Oh my goodness. Okay. Wow. What a trip that was. So we came back and went to Richard's little studio and started the recordings. I was playing my Fender bass on Al's Porta Studio, and I was really, really nervous on that because Al wanted me to play it with a pick, and I usually play with my fingers. But it turned out good. I mean, I was listening to it today, actually, to remind myself about it. John Bermuda sent me the raw tracks, and I have them. Before, without Al singing on them, mm-hmm. I could really pick it apart and went, man, that was pretty good. I'm really happy about that. I'm really so excited that I got to do that. Of course, Al made it sound great. I mean, I didn't have any idea what it was going to be like. And then when he did all the sound effects and the vocals and everything on it. I went, wow, that was amazing. It's raw.
Now, Frank, do you know why Al asked you to play with a pick? Did it sound different? I'm just curious why he would have insisted that.
You know, playing with the pick is a lot cleaner. It's more percussive, and added some energy to it, to the whole thing. So I play with the pick, not as much as I don't know if I should, but
Yeah.
it really came out well. I mean, I can hear it thumping. You can hear that thumping sound when you listen to that recording. So I was really excited about that. So then after the session was over, I went home. And it was pretty much it. And I went back to being Frank from the bank, pretty much. And that's pretty much how it's been, So I later on, Al and John were going to put together a band, and they asked me if I wanted to play. And I said, well, what happened was I was just selected to the bank's officer training program, and I really had a huge decision to make. Wow. What should I do? Should I, play with Weird Al Yankovic, or should I become a bank officer? Wow. It was a crossroads, so guess what I did? I'm Frank from the bank, and to this day, I still am.
So how long were you working at the bank, and when did you get that nickname, Frank from the bank?
Well, I think it was around that time. Al gave me that name.
Oh, yeah?
Oh.
Yeah, Al gave me that name, so then I just started using it, Frank from the bank. And it's really funny is there was Frank Bank, the guy from Leave It to Beaver.
Okay.
But that wasn't me. But I just got the nickname that way, and Al put it on the EP. And that's what, made me the Pete Best of the Weird Al band. So what the heck?
Now, when the Placebo record comes out, did you get a copy of it?
I don't have a copy now. If I got one, I didn't keep it, but I think that I have it. No, actually, my brother Vince has it. No,
Okay.
I got it, and Vince had it. Yeah, because what happened was I was 26 years old. I'm 65, almost 65 now. Help me. But I was 26 years old, and I was, doing things, and I left that at my mom's house. And then, it stayed there. And I know Vince has it. Well, actually, I had it in my possession, but Vince has it now. I wish I had it, though. I did ask Al for another one. And he says, well, one of these days when I go to my vault, I'll get you one for you. I haven't, not yet, though. But that's okay. It's on the box set. I'm really happy that it's on the box set. I can hear it, pretty much anytime.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
But it is it's so rare. How much is that worth now? What the heck?
Yeah, there were 1,000 of them produced. How many do you think Al has in his vault? That he's just...
I don't know. 999. No, I'm kidding. Well, what's funny is that was a thing to do in those days, because I put out a record myself with Vince, and the thing to do was to make 45s and then take them to record stores and Sunset Strip on Tower Records and things like that. So we had records out there for people to buy. And, so I'm sure some people bought them, and Al gave them to his friends. And, I don't know how they got distributed. Side story is I did a 45 like Al did. And, we kind of all used the same people, because we went to a pressing plant and printed them and did all that stuff. And so I got a call from a guy who tracked me down on the internet for a 45 that he bought at a record swap meet for like 35 cents in 1981. And I just went, man, wow, I wasn't kind of impressed. He wanted to know everything about the song, and he was a collector. And
wow.
I think that's really cool. That's really cool that people, are doing that, collecting and learning about, the backgrounds of the songs.
Definitely.
As a collector, Ethan and I are collectors. What was the name of that 45 so we know what to look for?
Yeah.
Which one? Mine?
Yours, yeah.
Oh, well, heck yeah. It's called, the label's called Garibaldi Records, and the song was the Etch-a-Sketch song. Oh, the one of A side is Etch-a-Sketch song, and the other one is called Speechless. And it's there. We just recorded them. One of them was in our house, and one of them was in a studio, and it's an orange label. So, I'll send you. I don't know if I have any. But we had 1,000 of those too, and I think I got about 800 of them left.
Okay. I'll take a couple.
I love it.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so I went back to being Frank from the bank. I got married, drifted away from listening to Dr. Demento for a while. And like I said, I'm pretty much normal kind of guy that doesn't really... If somebody says something to me that to open up the lid, it comes out. But usually I'll just, I don't talk very much about it. So one day my wife goes, I heard this song. It goes, la lasagna, la lasagna. And I went, oh, I know that guy. That's Alfred. And she goes, you know him? Oh my gosh. So then after that, she's been the one that tells everybody, guess what my husband does? He played with Weird Al Yankovic. And I go, okay. Yes, I did. Oh my gosh. Now she goes with me to the shows. She really enjoys, meeting the people and hanging out with the band guys, so it's been a really fun ride so far. Well, it's going to be the whole ride's going to be fun. Wherever it ends, I don't know. But I think that fate played out and everybody won. I'm really happy for John and Jim and Steve. I don't know Ruben very well, but these guys, Jim and Steve, they came in as a package deal, right? At least I think they did. Well, at least they came in at the same time.
So, yeah, they came in roughly around the same time, around the first album.
Yeah, well, they certainly paid their dues, and history speaks for itself. I mean, my gosh, what a career they've had. But, on a side note, I ran into Steve J in the 90s at a Starbucks when the band was playing in Denver. He didn't really know who I was at the time, but he remembered my face and seeing me at the shows. And so I introduced myself and I said, hey, I'm Frank from the Bank Sanchez. And he goes, oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, Al had me audition for you. He had me audition for his band playing the Happy Birthday bass part.
Oh.
I really like that little run that you did in D. And I'm going, yes, that made my day. I was like, oh, boy. Yeah, I got some recognition. He liked the way I played. It just warms my little heart, for that. And, and I still play the bass, and every once in a while, I'll put on my headphones and pull out the bass and play to some of my favorite Al songs. I like to play I'll Be Mellow When I'm Dead. I love that song. I love Nature Trail to Hell. I love Slime Creatures from Outer Space. I mean, I know so much. I know so much about these things, these songs. It's just amazing. Yeah, it's just so much fun. I just can go off in another world doing it. With Steve telling me that, he auditioned for my bass part. I thought that was really cool.
That's it. Great.
Yeah.
Now, Frank, Happy Birthday, was that the only thing you ever recorded with Al?
That's the only thing I recorded that was released, on a record. The other things were the American Slob and Number One with a Bullet that you'll never hear. And, there's some things that we messed around with that I might have been involved in, but I don't remember that much. And I'm not going to claim that I did, but I know I have a box somewhere, either me or Vince, that, the Crampton Comes Alive medley that Al does. We have a recording of that, and Al had drawn a hand coming out of a grave, like Crampton Comes Alive. So
right.
It's like a cramped hand coming out of this grave. Vince and Al, like I said, did a whole bunch of stuff that I wasn't really involved in. But we're Happy Birthday is the one.
I was curious to hear, in a note that you sent us, you mentioned a song that morphed into Nature Trail to Hell later.
Right, yes. So Al liked to play around with this little ditty that he called cyclotron, and it's the accordion, and I can't tell you what the musical term is for that style, that thing that he's doing. It's whatever. He calls it cyclotron, and it's like, I remember it as cyclotron. So when I listened to Nature Trail from Hell, I went, man, okay, I see that, and there's so many things that I see where Al had them in his brain way back when. Oh yes, you were asking me if I ever played anything else, and there was a song that Al did that was a serious song. It's called Farewell, and I remember some of the words, and I think that he used some of the lines in his valedictorian speech. I wasn't there for that, but it goes, "Farewell, old friend. I can tell by the clock on the wall that my time has come, and in the end, something, 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 something." That's about all I can remember. But it was a serious tune, and I really like it. I remember the music very well. I've got one of those minds that if I can hear it, I can play it, and it's in there. And if I've been asked to play it, I'm sure I could. But that was really cool. And Al Al and Vince did a lot of stuff together, and Al went to the funny side and Vince stayed to the serious side. And then, Vince just didn't make it and Al did. And that's the name of that tune, as they say. Vince and Al had been friends for forever, and I had lost touch with Al after, I became Frank from the Bank. And Vince had been friends with Al the whole time. And Vince got passes to see Al play. And we were lucky to be stupid guests in the '85 tour. And it was awesome. I mean, we were so excited to go to this show. I mean, oh man, we're going to go see Weird Al. Well, we still call him Alfred. But do you remember that Porky Pig cartoon where Porky and Gabby were always late to work? It's a cartoon. They had trouble sleeping. They were always late, and the boss was going to fire them if they didn't get there on time. So they set their alarm clock, and then they made it, but they were there on a Saturday, and it was closed, so they went back home. So Al got Vince the tickets and the passes. I think we bought our own tickets. We were so excited. We went early. It was at the Greek Theater. And we're driving up to the Greek Theater. Have you guys been to the Greek Theater?
I've never been, no.
I have not been there, no.
It's an LA area. It's really nice. It's a really, really nice place. So we're driving up there, and there's no cars in there. There's no cars. And we're going, what? Man, this is pretty sad. I mean, nobody's coming to see Al. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding? Really? There's nobody coming to see Al. Is this a bust or what? So we walked all the way to the box office, and we look at the thing, and we were there a whole week early. We were there a whole week early. I mean, I tell you what, we still laugh at how stupid we were. I mean, seriously, we sure lived up to the bill of being stupid guests.
Right.
And like I said, I kind of lost touch, and, this is a guy that I knew in high school. I had no clue on how he was climbing the ladder of success. And that show was an amazing show. I was dreaming about, Al coming up, having his accordion on a stand in the front of the stage, and him coming up to it, and having people cheer, and as he's going to tease people, I'm going to play the accordion now, or maybe not play the accordion now, but it was a great show, and I reacquainted with Al and Bermuda at that show. But I went. Went home and went back to being Frank from the Bank after that again. And so, I'm sitting there at my desk, and this coworker of mine knew about my Weird Al connection. He was a record collector, and he used to work at Licorice Pizza. And he goes, Frank, you know Weird Al, let's go meet him. And I went, oh, okay. I had no idea how to contact Al at the time. So went to the Dr. Demento, I think it was a 20th anniversary show. It was at the Raymond Theater in Pasadena, and we sat through the whole show and had a blast. It was just an amazing show. And then after the show, we hung out by the back gate, the loading gate, and we're just waiting, hopefully we could see Al or John. I just waited, but we never saw them. But Dr. Demento did come out after the show, and we talked to Dr. Dina, took some pictures, and I don't remember how, but somehow I reconnected with the Bermuda after that, and then got reconnected with Al. And then ever since then, Al's taken care of me and my wife at every one of his shows. I tell you what, he's one really great guy, just a really amazing guy. And another story about me downplaying my album, I guess. I was working at a music store in Colorado Springs, and I told them, yeah, I played for Weird Al Yankovic. And they go, oh, really? Yeah, sure. Okay, sure. So I told them the story, and we went to the NAMM show in Los Angeles. And we're walking around the show, and Alfred is doing a signing at the Shure booth, the microphone company. And they go, look, there's your friend. And I went, okay, this is my moment. So we stood in line. And, there was a big old long line to see Al. And when we got to the front of the line, he says, hey, Frank from the Bank. I said, Alfred. And that was pretty much it. They go, wow, you really do know him. I said, yeah, I do. I know Al. I know Alfred. And so when I tell people my story, they stare at me in disbelief and they say, nah, really? And then I say, well, how could anyone make up such a story? Come on, really? I mean, would I tell you a story like that if it wasn't true? Oh man, I really love preaching the gospel,
Yes.
Al. I really do. I'll pontificate about Al all day if I get a chance. Oh, the Paramount Theater in Denver. I met Bermuda's cousin after one of the shows, and we had I don't know what you eat after a show. Is it breakfast or dinner or whatever? I don't know. But he owns a home theater store in Denver, and they have an office or another store in Colorado Springs. And I thought one day I'd go in and say hey to him. Hey, how you doing? And so I go, hey, is Steve? I think his name is. Is he here? And he goes, no, he's not. He works in Denver. And I go, oh, well, I met him at a Weird Al concert, and they just laughed. And they go, oh, he doesn't sound like the. He went to a Weird Al concert? He's not the Weird Al type. I said, oh, well, just what is the Weird Al type?
Right.
He's only a platinum recording artist and multi-Grammy winning artist whose career spanned 3 decades. That's all! Don't get me started on that. Oh, my gosh. I'll do that to anybody. I don't care. The dude is... He's a genius. He just spins these lyrics and, they're topical. I mean, every nuance of a song is in there. He captures it all, not just the videos, but the words. I was telling somebody today about Trigger Happy. I says, there's almost no subject that you can talk about that Al hasn't talked about, sang
true.
about.
Right.
There really isn't. I mean, you can bring up, you could talk about anything. And I go, oh yeah, Al sang a song about that. Yeah, Trigger Happy. Let's run that by the NRA, And then, another one is Airline Amy. Dude, I know a lot of Weird Al songs. and I'm sure you guys do too. I'm not going to say that I research any of this. I just happened to be exposed to it, I guess. And so I know it. That's about it. It's kind of like osmosis.
Right. Yep.
So that's what's in me.
Well, we know a lot of Weird Al songs, but there's one that we don't know that you know. So how do we hear that one?
Okay. You're not.
Okay. You can't sing us a couple words?
No. Sorry. It's just going to have to be one of those MCI, friends and family releases, I know. I've had guys say, yeah, well, Frank, he's pulling my leg, that doesn't exist. And I go, well, so be it. That's part of the thing. That's how it goes.
Is it like your ringtone? Like, how often do you listen to it?
No. Well, okay, I was playing it for my wife the other day because I've been, thinking about this talk. I said, here's the song, and I'm listening to it, and it's really a poor recording. It's not a very good recording to start off. So it's not something, that anybody's really proud of, not to diss Al or anything like that, but it's just not the stellar quality stuff that he puts out. That's about all I'll say about that. I feel like it's Forrest Gump.
Well, I want to ask you now, when you first met Alfred back when he was a freshman or so, did you see in him, like, this guy's going to have a future doing this?
No, I didn't. Sorry, Al. It was so long ago, and it was so raw. I liked Al a lot. Don't get me wrong. I thought that he was clever and witty. He liked to mess around and be crazy, and a lot of us did that too. Who knows how things are going to turn out in the future? But I didn't think that Al was going to have a career doing what he's doing now. I don't even know if he did.
Right.
So it's just, it was just a real special time. I did talk to a friend of mine who was a student teacher at the school for the choir, I think. And he was telling me about Al, how he was in school. And he was just a guy that, just a crazy guy that just was weird, just to avoid people, I think. He's just one of those guys. But he was very popular too at the school because, he was on the debate team and all that stuff. And I was already gone, so I just, when you get out of school, you just take off and leave. And I think, Al's high school days probably weren't his most memorable days, that's for sure. But, now that he's moved on, everybody moves on. something about the high school though. There's a book. It's the complete Al, is it? It's a book that Al put out. It's a story. It's his life story. It's his career. It's got a picture of him leaning against the wall with his.
Oh, you're thinking of Weird Al the book. That's by Nathan Rabin.
So I'm at a Weird Al show after the show, and I bought the book and I brought it for Al to autograph, and I went, Al, when did you graduate from high school? 1976. The book says 1975. Ooh. So I brought it up to Al and I said the same thing to Al. I says, hey Al, take a look at this. He went, what? Ah! How many editions, I don't know what you call it, of this book have they put out, you know? So I asked Al to correct it and initial it for me.
That's amazing.
So I've got the only book in the world that has that correction in it.
Love that.
Oh, that's so great.
If you have the book, it's on page 11. I'm pretty sure it's page 11, but I don't
have one within arm's reach right now, or else I'd go look. But
okay,
that's so amazing. Tell me about growing up in Linwood. You know, I visited Linwood last year, and I'm sure it's a lot different now than it was. But I would love to get kind of a mental image of what it was like growing up there.
Well, Linwood was a nice little town. Everybody knew everybody, pretty much. You know, you could ride your bike from one end of the town to the other in about half an hour, maybe. The high school, there was a lot of, where did Al go to elementary school? I don't remember. I don't know where Al went to elementary school, but all of the schools fed into one junior high school, and then the junior high school fed into the high school. The chief of police was a friend of mine's dad, and the mayor, I mean, you knew all these people. I mean, I didn't like the mayor, but you know, we all went to the same places together, and you know, one pizza parlor, and you know, one main hamburger stand, and it was a neat little place to grow up. You know, people were starting bands around that time, and I knew all the music people in town. I was told one time Al and Vince came to one of our rehearsals, but I don't recall this, and you know, we wanted to play some of their parody stuff, but they didn't let them. But I don't remember that. Linwood was a really neat place, and you know, everybody knows that Al lived across the street from the high school. You know, his mom could watch him from their house over there. You know what Linwood was like? It's kind of like that show Wonder Years. That's kind of what it was. It was very much like Wonder Years. I mean, you know, Winnie, you know, your girl, you know, your girl of your dreams, all of that was there. And there was a lot of surfers there. People went to the movie theater on Friday night because the high school was having the football games on Friday night. And then the high school night was on Saturday night. People hung out at the malt shop kind of thing. It was at the hamburger stand called Russell's. I think Russell's is still there. The bowling alley is gone, but there was a Thrifty's that we used to go get ice cream at. And, you know, it was a neat place. And you could walk, like, you know, I think Vince and Al, I used to walk to the high school, but I guess when I got my car, we just started driving. But yeah, Linwood was a cool place. It was only about 15 minutes from Hollywood. Seriously, 20 minutes maybe from Hollywood, taking the freeway. And we went to Hollywood a lot. And that's how, you know, Al and Vince started going to the Dr. Demento shows to be on the, you know, on the air with Dr. D. And it was not very far to go there. That's how, you know, that all started happening, because people just drove down there and started hanging out with Dr. D and being on the show and getting their friends to call in and vote for their you know, for their songs to be on the top 10. And that was really a fun time. I loved it. It was a good place. Like I said, Wonder Years. That's pretty much Linwood.
That's amazing.
And then Linwood changed. You know, they put the Century Freeway through there. It's called the 105. And they started buying out the houses and tearing all the houses out. And that kind of tore the heart out of Linwood, to tell you the truth, because people started leaving the town, you know, and it changed rapidly. And Linwood's still a cool place. No, don't get me wrong. But I lived in Linwood off and on until 84, I think. Yeah, something like that. But yeah, so that's, you know, Linwood was a cool place. The high school changed quite a bit. You know that one picture where they're doing the volcano worshiper picture? I don't know if you're familiar with that.
Yes.
That volcano worshiper picture was, I think they did one at the Senior Square, and then they did one on the steps of the B building, and the B building burned down. So it's not, you know, some of that stuff's not there anymore. And I'm sure the high school the high school is no longer the high schools. The high school is now a junior high school, and it's all totally different. Time marches on,
Right.
as they say. Yeah, so Linwood was a cool place, and you can see that in Al's home movies. The water missile of death and all his family movies. Was. Oh man, and that's probably the real deal right there. Al, he shared so much of his life with the fans. People know him pretty well. I think one of the things that I think that he's done that's really successful is just to share his genuineness with people. And so everybody feels like they know him personally, the close personal friends of Al. I mean, it's the real thing. Al has not pulled any punches with his life, and when his mom and dad died, it was awful, and everybody knew about it. Just not a good day. But Al's just puts it out there on the line all the time. So I think that's admirable. All that's in me, so, and, I think about the band and Al, and when Bermuda was on your podcast for number 27.
Yes.
I love that, by the way. I thought that was so cool to hear those clips that he did. It was hilarious. I mean, that's precious stuff.
Totally.
Oh my gosh, the Night Ranger stuff. Oh, that was. I loved it. I really loved that. That was so. It was exciting to be kind of like behind the scenes, kind of lifting up to see underneath the hood. It was really fun. But when I was listening to Bermuda talking about all the places the band played over the years, it kind of reminded me of Milton Berle. Uncle Milty. And all the comedians who started their careers on the road, working the vaudeville circuit, I mean, they've experienced everything that is in showbiz. Everything, it's like you start small time, small potatoes, you get a gig, you're really excited, and you get stuff thrown at you and said that you're stupid and all this kind of stuff, the tomatoes, what is it, the Blues Brothers rawhide kind of a experience maybe sometimes. But, now they've been big time, but this last tour, I think they might have sold out everything that they did. And, the big question in those days was, will it play in Peoria? Well, in those days, it was said if an act would succeed in Peoria, it could work anywhere. Well, guess what? Oh my gosh. So, they've been everywhere, man. They've been everywhere. So to quote Johnny Cash, so, Bermuda gave my name once to the MTV people when they did Driven.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And Driven called me and asked me to be interviewed, but I didn't because I was too far away. They didn't want to pay for me to, fly to Los Angeles because I was already in Colorado Springs. So, I just didn't get a chance to share some of these experiences there. But I went to an Alcon show out in Elk Grove Village at the Holiday Inn, where the towels are also fluffy. Yeah, and I, every time I stay at a Holiday Inn, I say that to the desk clerk, and they just. I said, "How fluffy are your towels anyway?" Oh,
I'm gonna start doing that.
yeah, you need to. Yeah. Hey, are the towels also fluffy? Wait a minute. That snorkel's been just like a snorkel to me. Oh my gosh. That's all in me. Every single bit of it. So. I love it. Absolutely.
So you brought up Alcon. You were at Alcon. Which Alcon were you at? I was also at the Alcon.
I'm losing track of time because I'm old. I think it was in 2000.
Well, there was one in 1998, there's one in 2000, and there's one in 2002. So you got three choices.
I don't know. I'm gonna pass.
Okay.
It was in Elk Grove Village at the Holiday Inn, and Luke Ski was there. Sid Strickler was there. There was a guy. Oh, Dave, you were there, weren't you?
I was there.
I think
I was at all
you were there. I know. Yeah. Well, I know. I met you there too. I saw the tattoos and I met you there. And John did a talk.
So I'm thinking you're thinking of the first one in 1998, was the one where John was the keynote speaker and Al came out as a surprise at the end.
Yes. You're right. He was there and he wore a red shirt, a red Hawaiian shirt. And I do remember that. And he did that. You're right. That's exactly right. I was at that one. That was a whole lot of fun. Oh my gosh, I had so much fun with that. My son was with me. My son grew up with Al pretty much, since he was like 8 years old. but I drug him to that show, and it was awesome. I'm planning on going to the Festival show next year just to hang out and be around fellow Al fans. So I'm looking forward to that too. But the Alcon was really cool. I just remember the people that did their shtick there, and I bought a record. I think I bought the prosthetic lips from there. I love that. I've got a bunch of rarities, all of the unreleased stuff that he did at the college. I don't know where I get it from. I listen to it in my car. I like, one of my favorites is Love to a Bottle. Oh my God. Ooh, baby. I love this. Remember that one? I know you know that one. I love them all. I've got them in my head, but yeah, it would be fun to hang out and talk Al sometime. It's just a lot of fun. Like I said, over the years I've met John, and we talk a lot. And I talk to John about every couple of months. Mm-hmm. I've got to know Jim a little bit better over the years. I really enjoy his Hawaiian music a lot. And it's just a blessing just to be involved in that whole thing. So it really has been a real good time.
Frank, this was so much fun. Thank you so much for chatting with us and giving us these amazing stories and amazing experience. Such a great story.
All right. Thanks, man. It's my pleasure. Thanks for everything. And, looking forward to seeing you sometime out in Weird Aldom.
Speaking of Weird Al, Ethan, you just came back from a Weird Al related adventure of your own this past weekend in Los Angeles. Welcome back. How was your trip?
Thank you, Dave. It was amazing. Not only did I see the Star, I got to go to a Weird Al art gallery. I got to see Jim Kimo West perform. I got to see all sorts of Weird Al superfans. I cannot wait to tell you all about it.
Okay, well, spill the beans already.
Spill the beans. This week's episode brought to you in part by vegan Mexican restaurant Burrito in Troy, New York, home of the 2-pound double wrapped in a quesadilla burrito. Come on down to Burrito and Burrito, your burrito. Find them at burritosquared.com and at burritosquared on Instagram. And remember, not every burrito is a burrito, but every burrito can be burritoed.
You know I love burrito, but I want you to spill the beans about your trip.
You're gonna have to wait, Dave.
Wait, why do I have to wait?
I just got home. I haven't even unpacked yet. I promise, Dave, we will talk about it on episode 33-inch next week.
You're really gonna make me wait an entire week?
Yeah, I am.
Not even like a teaser?
Sorry, next week.
You're not gonna even tell me about Jim's Slack Key show?
Yeah, I absolutely will, Dave. Next week.
You've got to at least tell me about the Star.
Well, the Star, which of course was funded by Weird Al's fans, and you helped get funded from the beginning, I will tell you all about next week.
How about spending time with other super fans? You at least can tell me about that.
I got to meet so many friends. I got to meet listeners, and I'm going to tell you all about it next week, Dave.
Tell me about some of the amazing exhibits that they had at the art gallery.
Sure, I'll tell you all about it next week. But Dave, in the meantime, if you head over to our Patreon page, patreon.com/2000inch, you can see pictures of every art piece that I saw at the exhibit. Will that hold you over for a week?
I did see those pictures. Those pictures were amazing. I have so many questions for you about those pictures.
Dave, I wasn't expecting as many art pieces as they actually had. Last time Al did something at Gallery 1988, there were like 10 or 20. There were almost 100. So I can't wait to tell you about them next week.
Yeah, well, you can see pictures of everything that Ethan took. And we made those pictures free for everyone to check out. They're on patreon.com/2000inch. You don't have to be a Patreon subscriber to see them. So if you haven't seen them yet, head on over to patreon.com/2000inch. You can see them all. And you can also check out how you can support us while you're there.
And you should.
Those pictures were so cool. I felt like I was there with you. We've been super busy on Patreon this past week. Besides those amazing pictures from the Weird Al exhibit at Gallery 1988 that we posted, we also posted not one, but 2 secret episodes this past weekend. And our Strings Attached bonus episode, 23 centimeter, that is the Saturday evening Seattle show. And we also have more with Frank Sanchez that we recorded exclusively for our Patreon subscribers. Be sure to check that out and subscribe over at patreon.com/2000inch. You'll get access to all this great new material, as well as everything we've posted so far. And our intern Frank tells me that he's posting even more stuff there soon. So that's where it's all happening. Check it out there and support us while you're at it.
And we also want to remind everyone about our live upcoming interview with Jonah Ray, along with a UHF screening on the humongous screen on Saturday, January 25th in upstate New York. That's in Schenectady, New York. For tickets and all the information, head over to uhf.2000inch.com.
That is going to be so much fun. And then you will be performing comedy with Jonah. You'll be performing on Thursday, January 23rd in North Adams, Massachusetts. Then you will be performing on Friday, January 24th in Glens Falls, New York. And on Saturday, January 25th, immediately after our show at the same venue. How convenient is that?
I am so excited to see you, to see Jonah, to see all of our fans and listeners. It is going to be a blast. That weekend is going to be something you do not want to miss. Much like the weekend I just had.
Just tell me about it already.
Next week!
Okay. Well, we want to thank all of our listeners, and especially those of you who subscribe.
If you like this podcast, please subscribe. It means so much to us. If you listen this far, you might as well subscribe, and you might as well get a second phone and a second account and subscribe on those too. We're on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Spotify, Atari 2600, Cartridge, and anywhere else you can stream podcasts. The only way to make sure you get the latest episode the second it drops is if you subscribe, or if you put your ear to my front door while I'm listening to it.
Also, please give us a follow at 2000inch on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and of course, patreon.com/2000inch. Be sure to check out our Facebook group and also visit us at 2000inch.com, where you can hear the latest episode, get information on all of our guests, and hear every single back episode, including the bonus episodes. Remember to use the hashtag 2000inch and hashtag GillandChill when you post.
And don't you dare forget that you can always call us at 347-SPATULA and leave us a message any time of the day, night, month, year, decade, century, millennium. We love hearing from our listeners. We might even play your message on the air.
We have a brand new full episode out every Wednesday.
And Dave, next week, I will tell you and the audience all about my exciting Al-related trip to Los Angeles.
You're killing me. Where is a time traveler when I need one?
That was Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast, episode 32-inch.
So he reaches into his glove box, pulls out a magic marker, and he says, "Ah, this is my Belvedere repair kit.